All right, today is the first day of September, which means that today we have brand new data that is going to cover the month of August here in the real estate, the real estate market here in the western suburbs of Chicago. Now, what I'll do in this video is we're going to talk about three major things regarding the market to get an idea of what's happening out here. We're going to talk about the prices of homes. We're going to talk about the inventory supply. And we're going to talk about the buyer, just the way buyers are out here as far as the demand that is out here. We're going to talk about that here in this meeting. And what we're going to do is take not only a look at the local market, which is in Aurora, Illinois, which is the western suburbs, the second most populated city in the state of Illinois, but we're also going to compare that statistic with the entire Chicago area, just as a big number, just kind of see where Aurora is in as far as the real estate statistics go. Okay, so with this fresh new data, let's get started with this information. Now, if you do like this information and you want to get more of this in the future, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you could continue to get some more information just like this, stay up to date with what's happening. And of course, if you have an area that you want me to go over and provide a report for you, then by all means let me know in the comments below or give me a call or text here at 630-777-4597, and I would love to help you out with that. Okay, so let's get started with this here. As far as the Aurora area goes here, okay, we're about to wrap up the summer season here. September 1st, autumn is in the air. The Starbucks are bringing out their pumpkin spice. Everyone else is bringing out Halloween things. And so we're about to start transitioning into an autumn state of mind here, right? And what will happen here in the next several months in the autumn season here coming up, and will that affect our real estate purchases, our decisions? Is the market going to start to slow down now, or is it going to pick up again, right? These are questions that we're asking right now in this transitioning period. Of course, right now we already know that the real estate world has been rocked with the recent news of the NAR lawsuit, which is something that perhaps the casual observer outside of real estate probably wouldn't notice, but if you are in real estate and understand what's going on, it has been a tumultuous month this past month with the new changes taken into effect and a lot of confusion that hopefully you are getting yourself educated about and just improving how you deliver your value. Anyway, that's to the real estate agent out there. But for those again who are interested in the market, what I'm doing here is I'm taking into account the Aurora statistics. Now, I know that there's a lot market, there is a townhome market, there is a single family home market, right? So what we're going to do here is just focus on the residential market. That is homes, as you can see here in where I'm hovering my mouse over, the homes that are in the price range of $97,000 or less, right? So zero all the way up to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million homes, right? All over the broad range, right? We're not looking at a specific price range of, let's say, $200,000 to $300,000. That could be a market. And again, if you need to know the statistics in your particular area here in the Chicagoland area regarding the market with that specific range, reach out to me and I'd love to help you out with that. Okay. In this video as well, we're going to talk about all property classes when it comes to single family residential. Okay, also we can add 2 to 4 units as well, but that's a class in and of itself. Commercial is a class in and of itself. Land is a class in and of itself. But we're only going to talk about single family living units, which could be condominiums, and it could also be attached family homes, aka townhomes. Okay, and that's exactly what you see here in the property type. We have attached, detached, townhouse, and condo. What kind of construction? We're going to talk about resale and new construction. Okay, as well as traditional sale, real estate owned sale, short sale. Okay, we're going to talk about all those as well here in this meeting. And then the square footage, the size of the homes also is not really taken into consideration as far as I'm only going to focus on small houses or I'm only going to focus on big. We're going to focus on all sizes here. Okay, so basic residential generals we're going to look at here as far as these statistics go. Okay, if you want some more zoomed in information, let me know and I would love to help you out with that. Okay, so here it is, new months. I haven't even seen these numbers. I'm reacting live to this information, okay? And so here we go. Let's talk about price. Price. The question that everyone always asks is, are prices going up still, or will there be a crash, they ask. Well, let's find out what's happening here in Aurora. All right, so let's just kind of give it a little bit of a preface. We're going to look at the median sales price. We're going to look at the raw data points, okay? And the median, which is basically not the average. We're not taking into account all the sales from the highest and the lowest and mash them up together. We're going to take a look at the more conservative numbers and see where prices are, okay? So in June of 2024, this year, Aurora reported 347,700, okay? In July, we reported 328,000, okay? So 345 down to 328. And in August, we're looking at 322. So these past 3 months, we're looking at more of a decline, right? Just a decline. Is that something that is normal? Well, let's take a look. Again, from June, we've been going down in the price range. Now compare that to last year, because a lot of times, obviously, we are concerned about, hey, year to year, right? Are we doing better or worse than we were last year? According to these numbers here in Aurora, with a single family residential, we have not really hit something of a alarm, an alarming state of being here in the market. We're only 1.4% less than last year. So we basically are equal with last year. Let me take it back to last year's median sales price here. And in August of 2023, here last year, right now we're in 2024, we were at 326,500. 322 this year. So again, 326 last year, 322 this year. Okay, this is the median prices. So according to this, prices have not gone up or down in a crazy way. It's just steady. It's the same as last year. Okay. Now last year, if you recall, that the interest rates were around 6.5% to 7%. Same thing this year, but now instead of us coming from a low point going up, in other words, in 2023, as far as interest rates go, okay, we were coming from a good place down to a more unfavorable place, right? It was more negativity around interest rates, right? We spoke about this several videos ago. If you want to go back to the videos here on YouTube in my channel, you'll see what I'm talking about when it comes to interest rates and coming from a bad place or coming from a good place. Interest rates now, this past week, we've been looking at 6.5%, 6.4, 6.5. And that is good news because we were coming from a more negative place, a bad place. In other words, the interest rates were coming from a 7.5, and then now we're going down to 6.5. So it is more favorable for buyers, and buyers are more happy to see 6.5 as opposed to last year. 6.5 was a frowny face. This year, 6.5 is a happy face. Why? Because we're coming in from a higher interest rate. In other words, it was more expensive before, and now it's getting more affordable to buy a house right now with interest rates going down. And on top of that as well, next month, which is actually now, September, a lot of folks are expecting interest rates to, drop actually a little bit more. So it'll be, again, much more favorable as far as buyers go, okay? So that's what the news is looking at as far as median prices go, okay? So flat, year to year. 322 in Aurora, and that's what we got. Okay, now when you compare that to the entire MLS area, okay, this is what I wanted to show you here. When it comes to the entire Chicagoland area, how does Aurora compare? Well, the entire MLS area, we're looking at and reporting a $329,000 so sales price. So basically almost even, all right, around the Chicagoland area. Now compare that to last year. Last year, prices of homes are up 5.4% for the entire MLS area, the whole Chicago area, from the north to the west to the south suburbs. Okay, an average, that's what they're taking into this consideration. Now, let me kind of delete this now to kind of focus once again in Aurora. These statistics represent the median sales price. I do want to take account the average sale price. Okay, so here we go. Taking a look at the monthly data point. All right, now, kind of delete that. Okay, here we go. Average sale price in Aurora is $351,000. 351.5. All right, 351. Is that better or worse than last year? Worse than last year, right? 351 is 3% lower than last year. Not a huge number. Prices are not falling, right? They are slightly less than last year, but still, by and large, basically the same. Let's take it back. Let's rewind. We're rewinding back to August of 2023. Where were the prices then? 362. So 362 compared to 351, that is about 3.1% less than last year. And so that's what we're looking at. So the prices are 351. Now, if you compare that to the previous months, we are still doing better than May, right? May 2024, we were averaging 330,000. Now we're at 351. I'm not at all worried about it, okay? At all. I'm not worried that the prices are going down. Prices are still holding steady. Even though there's a dip here in the last couple of months, okay? From July to August, there was a bigger dip between those two. But it is what it is. Now, let me take a look at the rolling 12 months. Now, before I bring that number up, remember, rolling months is when you take that data point of that month and then you basically blend it into the previous 11 months to give you an idea of where the trend is going, okay? As you can see here, you see all these jagged edges in this particular chart? Well, I'm going to blend them in and make them make more sense, okay? Here we go. Boom. So as you can see here, the trajectory, if you want me to zoom out a little bit more, am I worried about the prices of homes crashing and falling down? No, look, I'm going 5 years and I'm going 10 years back. You still see that the prices of homes are still on the come up, like they say, right? If you compare it to the 10 years ago, you can still see a steady incline in prices, okay? Not even the pandemic caused anything to change into a negative. I mean, if anything happened here, it maybe has made the prices of homes skyrocket even more. In other words, demand has gone up compared to, where it would have been. Now, if you can take into consideration 2015 all the way to 2019, 2020, there was a trajectory. I mean, I feel maybe just looking at this, prices should probably have been around 304 instead of 346. But, the pandemic made a lot of people reconsider their life choices and, they decided, hey, I want to buy a home. A lot of folks want to buy homes. So now what happened is, again, supply and demand, because demand rose, prices also had to rise, right? So that's what occurred there. So big story with the prices. They are still on a steady incline, as you can see here. Even though, short term, we took a little bit of a dip, but we're not looking at some crashing numbers because compared to last year, in Aurora, things have been going, pretty steady with last year's numbers, okay? And the more demand that there are for homes, which we expect the demand to pick up here in the month of September, we still will see, I predict, I believe that the prices of homes will take a dip up this year, not a dip up. You don't dip up, right? It'll be a spike up. Not a huge spike, but it'll pick up somewhat, okay? Before I leave this screen, I do want to put into the screen here the MRED area, the entire MLS area. Again, this is the Chicagoland area where this MLS is able to detect the information. And look, the entire MLS area, again, they are keeping in line. Obviously, there's more volume because it's the whole area, not just one town. So that's why we do have this, okay? And they are up 8% compared to last year, as opposed to us, up 9%. All right, so that's what the statistics look like here. All of us are seeing an incline in prices in the long term, okay? So let's go ahead and zoom back into the 3 years. All right, here we go. If we can get this to work. I think it froze. All right, well, once this thing gets back to normal, we're gonna now look at the next situation here, which is supply, right? We spoke about prices. Now we're gonna speak about inventory, another huge factor as to the state of the market. How is the market? Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it buyers? Is it sellers market? What's going on, right? So as far as prices go, it is a seller's market there. But let's take a look. Has inventory increased or decreased? Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Let's take a look, right? So I'm going to go ahead here and take a look at inventory. Now, before I dive into this, I want to look at homes for sale, right? Homes for sale will give you an idea of, where the state of the market is, okay? So you can already see here the rolling average. You see up here, it took a little bit of spike in 2023 of inventory going up, and then it took a dip down in February, and we're still hovering in there. We're slowly trying to pick it up, but we're going into the seasonal time where inventories of homes are not gonna going up, not gonna be going up. So that's what we expect. Let's take a look at the monthly data points. Here we go. Has inventory risen? Now we have two factors, two tools that we use, right? Homes for sale and inventory, months supply of inventory. Okay, so far the homes for sale here in Aurora was reported in August of 2024 to be 170 homes for sale. Okay. And that's pretty good. Now, 170. When was the last time we saw 170? We saw 170 in September of 2023, right? About a year ago. And last time we saw 70 homes for sale, this is the equivalent of December numbers, December 2022, right? We saw around April, we saw 170 homes around the latter part of October of 2021, right? So these are numbers that we would see in the fall and in the springtime, right? Not in summertime, right? We see peaks of inventory in July in August. So, I mean, even looking at this, I mean, this is kind of interesting for you to consider. We just went through July, August. These are times, typically in the last 3 years, that we have seen inventory go up. But this time around, inventory has been very low. I've heard it said that we're having very, very low activity, as low as 2008 numbers, right? Well, I mean, look, we just went through a situation here where these numbers here, if you can see my mouse hovering right here, we should be up here, right? Where the 250, 270 homes for sale should be, but we're not, right? And I mean, look, we're at the peak, right? We're supposed to start dipping down, as you can see here. In August, September, we start to drop. That's where the valley begins. September, you start to have that slide down. So if we saw in August 170, from this point, then we're going to start to slide down. What is the valley? What's the lowest point? We don't know. But that's what we see here, is that August hit that number. Now, it has been going up, yes, granted, right? We have seen, let's go back to 2 years ago, actually. September, right? Here we go. So I was looking at August 2021 and August 22 numbers. But once the the interest rates started to go up, right, this year, we did see less activity as far as homes for sale goes. Less activity when it comes to listing, right? Because again, buyers are also sellers, right? Most sellers are buyers. So if the interest rates are not favorable for buyers, they're not going to sell their house, right? So that's why we saw that dip. And, the interest rates being at 6.5%, 7% caused the inventory to be low. And when we did see interest rates around 4 or 3% or 5% even, we did see a spike. So unless we see numbers, interest rates going around the 5%, for high 4s, low 5s, mid 5s, we'll probably see much more activity in the inventory sector, you could say, of inventory here in the market. But until then, we're going to still see these numbers be tempered in this regard right here. So let me kind of zoom out a little bit here and take a look at the last 5 years. Okay. Now, prior to the pandemic, we did see in August of 2019, right, before the pandemic, we did see 577 homes for sale. So there was a lot of activity. All right, now let me take a look at the last 10 years. Okay, we're zooming out here, trying to take into perspective all these things. Let me give you a rolling 12 months. That shows you the inventory of the previous 10 years. We did see a lot of homes for sale. Let me take it back again to the monthly data points. You see these peaks? There's peaks and then there's valleys. Peaks and valleys, right? Let's study the peaks in the last 10 years. Well, in August 2014, we had a peak, right? 953. September was very, very similar. The next year, the peak July, August, and then it started to go down. The next year, 2016, the peak actually was in March, 674 homes for sale, okay? And then the next year in 2017, the peak was around June, July. And then the next year after that, the peak was longer, right? 2018, the peak lasted several months, really. We saw August, September, October, November, and then it had a sharp decline in 2018 in December. The next year, we saw again August, all right? 2020, the pandemic year, right? Something crazy happened that year, right? And so we did see inventory peak in May, and then things just dropped drastically. Look at this. I mean, in Aurora, we saw a huge dive. I mean, everything was looking normal. Even though in the last 10 years, we did see steady decline, all right, of inventory. But still, the huge factor, I mean, something that happened, shocked everything, was, again, the pandemic. May 2025 was the last time we ever saw, right? Ever since the pandemic of May 2020, the last time we ever saw homes close to 400 homes for sale. And that was basically on pace for at least the peak of like at least 500 homes for sale that year, but it didn't happen, right? And we know what happened, and the peak ended up being in May, and in August we only had 311 homes, and then 270, and it just went way down to February. Now February 2021, right? That was almost near the anniversary of the pandemic, and things were still in lockdown. Everybody was in masks. You know how that was. That's when we saw a low number. But I mean, ever since that point, that's the numbers that we're looking at even right now. Even though right now we're at 170 homes for sale, you know what? I mean, February 2021, low inventory homes, right? We're still looking at those numbers. Yes, we did have some high points. July 2021 was a peak. August 267, another peak of 253, but nowhere near the highs of 2019 of almost 600 homes for sale. It just didn't happen. Okay, so that's where we're heading in right now. That's what we're living in as far as inventory goes. Now, in Aurora, that's what's happening here in the entire MRED area. You can still see, of course, look, I mean, the last 10 years, you can see just a lot of activity. But the reason why I brought this up was to show you that it's not just here, right? It's not just in Aurora. This is not an anomaly just here in this local area. Everywhere else has had dip. And as you can see here in 2021 and 2020, we did see a huge drop in inventory, okay? So that's what happened here with the inventory. So yeah, homes for sale. Look, we're still suffering with this. Let me go ahead and take a look here. Zoom in back to the 3-year and to the monthly data point. So even though homes for sale are looking up, I mean, we're still at historic lows when it comes to inventory here in Aurora, okay? Now let's take a look at month supply. Month supply shows you here if inventory stopped coming all together into the market, how many months would it take for the inventory to clear out of the shelves? 3 months is a seller's market. Anything under 6 months is a seller's market. 3 months is a stronger seller's market. 2 months is a very, very strong seller's market. 1 month is like, yeah, if you price your home correctly, it's going to sell pretty quickly, okay? So according to this, in June and May, we had 1 month supply. And in July, we had 1.1 month supply. Now we're at 1.2 month supply. So we are still extremely low when it comes to inventory. Even though here in this chart, it looks like inventory is going up. It is, but at the same time, it is very, very low. I mean, just too little, too late in a sense. And kind of zoom out here and give you a little bit of context as far as how much inventory is. Again, look, the top shelf, the top row right here is 6 months. That's the balance. That's the part where both buyers and sellers have leverage, right? That's where you have to look for a buyer, right? And almost woo the buyer to come. Now, if you put the property for sale and you price it correctly right from the get-go, buyers are going to be, flooding. It should be at least, okay? Let me take a look at another important metric when it comes to this, and that is market time. Market time. Let me look at the median market time. 7 days in the market. Takes folks about 7 days. Here in Aurora, it's much more quicker to go on the contract than in other areas. In other areas, as far as the entire Chicagoland area, it takes about median 12 days to go on the contract. Here, it's much more quicker at 7 days on the market, okay? That's the median. The average days on market, again, taking into account the very, very high numbers and the very, very low numbers, right? It kind of might skew the numbers a little bit. That's why I like to look at the median. But if you want to consider the average numbers, 20 days on market is what we're averaging, okay? In the entire Aurora area, right? There's certain neighborhoods, there's certain markets, like I said, West Aurora market, East Aurora market, Far East. There's the other parts of town, right? I mean, it's just different markets anywhere, right? You just ask anybody, hey, what are you looking to buy? Oh, I'm looking to buy a townhome within the price range of 180 to 280, right? That's a market. So many markets out here, okay? It's not just one and done. But anyway, I understand. That's why I'm saying if you need that kind of information, reach out to me and I'd love to help you out with information about the market. It's one of the services I provide to my clients as well. I give them a specific, there you go, a specific market report that not just talks about homes for sale. I don't just give you a printout. I make an actual video just like this and explain in detail and what it means. I basically color for them what is happening in the market, okay? So that is inventory, supply, okay? Now let's take a look at the buyer demand finally to wrap up this video. What is buyer demand looking like? Remember, buyer demand is also a very, very important driving factor as to how the prices of homes go, yes, and also, the market itself in general. Now, again, if all buyers pulled out, if only instead of 10 people per house are looking, only one, yeah, you better believe that the seller would do whatever they can to, bring that buyer to purchase that home, right? They would do everything, in fact, even try to lower their price to entice more buyers to come out. But the fact that there's so many buyers out here doesn't make the person want to, the seller want to lower their price. Again, this is supply and demand. So how many shows per listing, right? All right, let's go zoom in again, the 3 years. And we're taking into account how many shows per listing. Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Well, again, let's take a look. All right, Aurora. We're going up and down, right? These are valleys and hills. Hills and valleys. Peaks and valleys, that's what I'm talking about, right? Peak is around April, May, right? And the low time, right, the valleys are August. Isn't it ironic that the more buyers are in the market, the less there is inventory, and that's in April, May, right? The lowest supply is around that time, and the highest demand, highest buyers out there is the same time, April. But in August, the tables have turned. In August, we have the most amount of homes and the least amount of shows per listing, right? Because in August and September, right? In July and August, these summer months, people are out there having their vacation. They're doing doing all this stuff. Most of the time, the activity is going on with buyers is, yes, the early spring and heading into the summer. That's why we see low inventory, because these homes are being snatched up quickly. But then those tables flip. And around this time, when we have most equal leverage, you would find that around January. You find that around, the times that we have it, around this time. May as well. Another time is around, I would say, October, I believe, another time that we have equal leverage, supply and demand, kind of meeting each other eye to eye, and then they go off in the separate ways, all right, in alignment in a sense. All right, so as far as buyer demand goes in Aurora here for August, has it gone up? Has it gone down? It has gone down from the previous month. Not a huge amount month to month. Last month we had 13.3 shows per listing. In other words, when a property went on the market, we had about 13, 14, shows per listing. That is people that went and registered and went with a realtor to go see a house. That's not bad, right? Well, that number has gone down to 11. But there's still, plenty of demand out there still. We don't hit those lows very much, no. Now, compared to last year, it says here that we're 31% less. So what happened in August 2023, excuse me. In August 2023, we had 16 shows per listing. So last year, we had more activity in these homes. So we have a little bit less demand this time around. Is that enough to cause sellers to lower their prices? We'll see, right? If a home stays in the market for a long time, we should expect to see homes lower their prices. But if not, then we shouldn't, right? So like I said, if here in the news, right, if you're keeping up with the news, the Fed has hinted that they're going to lower interest rates for the banks this coming month, and the mortgage industry, right, will feel the ripple effects of that, thus also reducing their interest rates. And if the buyer demand does pick up a little bit here, it'll meet with the demand that is out here, and I believe that could cause prices to remain steady. Even though demand has dropped, I don't think that demand will continue to stay this low, because if interest rates do drop more, I do see more activity this coming up month, okay? So that's what we see here in the market, okay? So that's basically it in a nutshell. We spoke about inventory. Well, listen, from the beginning of this video, we spoke about the prices of homes staying pretty much steady. We've seen the inventory still very, very low, still low numbers, and we've seen buyer demand actually drop a little bit here in the latter part of the summer. Let's see how the fall now does here in the market. We'll keep you updated as to what's happening here in the market here in the fall and the autumn. And yeah, of course, if you have any questions, or you are yourself thinking about getting into the real estate market to buy a home or to sell a home, or you just want to be curious about this and want to get some more information to tell your clientele, reach out to me. Leave me a comment below of what you want to see, and I would love to make this kind of video for you. Again, this is Luis the Broker here, giving you some real estate market information, and I can't wait to make the next video for you so that you can be a better, more savvy person out here in the market. So with that said, let's get ourselves going in the right direction. Let's go. Let's have a successful month.